The entire history of Cyprus. Stand on the shores of Cyprus, thousands of years ago, and the sea before you would not feel like a border. It would feel like a highway. Across these waters came merchants searching for copper, armies chasing empires, crusaders carrying holy banners, and conquerors determined to control the eastern Mediterranean. Every civilization left something behind: a ruined temple, a mountain fortress, a language, a religion, a wound. Cyprus rises from the eastern Mediterranean, between Europe, Asia, and Africa. Its mountains are covered in pine forests. Its central plains glow beneath the summer sun, while rocky coastlines descend into clear blue water. But beneath this peaceful landscape lies an unusually violent history. Whoever controlled the island could watch the eastern Mediterranean and profit from the ships crossing it. That location brought wealth. It also made peace almost impossible. The first islanders. Long before palaces, churches, or fortified cities appeared, small communities were already building homes on Cyprus. By the 7th millennium BC, people lived in settlements such as Choirokoitia. They constructed circular stone houses along the slopes of a hill and protected their village behind thick defensive walls. Smoke rose from simple hearths. Grain was ground by hand. These were not wandering survivors. They belonged to an organized society that had learned how to endure on an isolated island. Centuries passed, and Cyprus began producing the resource that would transform its future: copper. The metal was extracted from the island's mountains and traded across the ancient world. Ships carried Cypriot copper toward Egypt, the Aegean, and the ports of the Near East. Some historians even connect the name Cyprus with the ancient word for copper. The island was no longer isolated. It had become valuable. Greeks, Phoenicians, and gods. During the Late Bronze Age, settlers from the Mycenaean Greek world arrived and permanently shaped the island's language and culture. Greek-speaking kingdoms emerged across Cyprus, but they were never alone. Phoenician merchants and settlers also established powerful communities, especially around Kition. Egyptian rulers, Assyrian kings, and Persian emperors would all attempt to control the island. Cyprus became a meeting place where Greek temples stood near eastern trading ports, and different gods were worshipped beneath the same sun. The island became especially associated with Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. According to mythology, she rose from the sea foam near the Cypriot coast. At Paphos, worshippers gathered around her sanctuary, bringing offerings to a cult that survived for centuries. Yet the beauty of Cyprus could not protect it from war. In 333 BC, the island's rulers supported Alexander the Great during his campaign against Persia. After Alexander's death, Cyprus fell into the struggles of his successors before becoming part of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. Then another empire appeared over the horizon: Rome. Rome, and the rise of Christianity. In 58 BC, Cyprus became a Roman possession. Roads stretched between its cities. Harbors filled with merchant vessels, public baths, theaters, villas, and temples transformed urban life. At places such as Paphos, wealthy families walked across mosaic floors decorated with gods, heroes, and hunting scenes. During the 1st century AD, the apostles Paul and Barnabas traveled through Cyprus, preaching Christianity. According to tradition, the Roman governor Sergius Paulus accepted the new faith, making Cyprus one of Christianity's earliest political footholds. Over time, pagan temples fell silent, and churches rose in their place. When the Roman Empire divided, Cyprus became part of the Byzantine world. For centuries, church bells echoed through mountain valleys, while monasteries and painted chapels appeared among the forests of the Troodos Mountains. But from the 7th century onward, Arab raids struck the island repeatedly. Coastal towns were attacked, communities moved inland, and Cyprus became trapped between competing powers. The age of ancient empires was ending. The age of Crusaders was about to begin. Crusaders and castles. In 1191, King Richard the Lionheart was sailing toward the Holy Land during the Third Crusade when a storm scattered his fleet. Some of his ships reached Cyprus, where survivors were reportedly mistreated by the island's ruler, Isaac Komnenos. Richard responded with an invasion. Within weeks, Cyprus had fallen. Richard married Berengaria of Navarre at Limassol, then sold the island first to the Knights Templar and later to Guy de Lusignan, the displaced king of Jerusalem. Under the Lusignan dynasty, Cyprus became a wealthy medieval kingdom. Gothic cathedrals towered above cities. French-speaking nobles lived behind palace walls, while Greek-speaking peasants worked the surrounding countryside. High in the northern mountains, castles such as St. Hilarion watched over the coastline from cliffs wrapped in mist. But the kingdom weakened, and Venice gradually took control in 1489. Expecting an Ottoman attack, the Venetians reinforced the island's defenses. At Nicosia, they built enormous star-shaped walls surrounded by 11 bastions. Those walls still stand, but they could not save the city. The Ottoman conquest. In 1570, an Ottoman invasion force landed on Cyprus. Nicosia fell after a brutal siege. The following year, Famagusta made its final stand. For months, Venetian defenders resisted behind massive stone walls, while Ottoman cannons shattered the city around them. Food disappeared. Soldiers collapsed from exhaustion. The streets filled with smoke and rubble. Eventually, Famagusta surrendered. Cyprus became part of the Ottoman Empire. The new rulers abolished parts of the old feudal system and restored authority to the Orthodox Church. Muslim settlers arrived from Anatolia, helping form the Turkish Cypriot community. For more than 3 centuries, Greek Orthodox Christians and Turkish Muslims lived across Cyprus. They traded in the same markets and cultivated neighboring lands, but they preserved distinct religions, languages, and identities. In the 19th century, as nationalism spread across Europe, those identities became increasingly political. The British era. In 1878, Britain assumed administration of Cyprus from the Ottoman Empire. British officials constructed roads, government buildings, schools, and new systems of administration. But many Greek Cypriots wanted something Britain would not grant: enosis, union with Greece. By the 1950s, the armed organization EOKA had begun a campaign against British rule, independence, and division. On August 16, 1960, the Republic of Cyprus was established. Its constitution attempted to share power between Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, while Britain retained sovereign military bases on the island. Then came the summer of 1974. On July 15th, a coup backed by the military government in Greece overthrew President Makarios. Its supporters sought union with Greece. 5 days later, Turkey launched a military operation, saying it was acting to protect the Turkish Cypriot community and restore the constitutional order. Turkish forces landed on the northern coast as aircraft crossed the sky and fighting spread across the island. By the time the ceasefire took hold, Turkish forces controlled roughly the northern third of Cyprus. Hundreds of thousands of people were displaced from their homes. Greek Cypriots moved south, Turkish Cypriots moved north. Villages emptied, properties were abandoned, and families carried keys to houses they would not see again for decades. A United Nations buffer zone stretched across the island. It also cut directly through Nicosia. Cyprus was divided. Today, travelers can walk through ancient settlements, Roman theaters, Byzantine churches, Crusader castles, Venetian walls, Ottoman quarters, and British colonial streets, without ever leaving Cyprus. Few islands carry so many civilizations within such a small landscape. The Republic of Cyprus controls the south and is a member of the European Union. The north is administered by the self-declared Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, recognized only by Turkey. Between them lies the United Nations buffer zone. Crossing points have opened, allowing people to move between both sides. But the division remains. In central Nicosia, modern cafes and crowded shopping streets end suddenly at sandbags, barricades, abandoned buildings and watchtowers. Beyond them lies another part of the same city. Cyprus survived earthquakes, invasions, crusades, sieges, colonial rule, and the collapse of empires. Yet its greatest unfinished chapter is not hidden beneath an archaeological site. It is still being lived, because Cyprus is more than an island divided by history. It is an island still waiting to decide what its history will become. Subscribe for more cinematic journeys through the places that shaped our world. And tell us in the comments which country, city, or lost civilization we should explore next.